Okay, now we get to the fun stuff. Now we are getting into product creation in the products area. So let's click on products on the left-hand side here. Click on all products and you'll have a nice empty slate here, right? So hit create product and we're going to select the build your own start building option here to build from a clean slate, okay? And this is going to be our demo course and create product. So once you create your product, you'll come to this page here. This is like the dashboard, if you like, for editing your product. So there are a few more menu buttons here to explain. You have the edit details button, the preview, the customize, and under more actions, you can delete the course completely. Underneath that, you have the product structure itself where you can add categories, and within each category, you can add posts or subcategories, right? And I'll talk through those in detail in a moment. You can also create offers directly from here, but for the purpose of the tutorials, I'm going to show you how you create offers using the offers area instead. And then finally, you'll see like a thumbnail preview of what the tile, like the image tile of the course looks like, okay? So let's have a look at all these buttons here in depth. First of all, the edit the details. When you click on that button, you'll be able to change the name of it and enter a description, okay? So that's what's described sort of across the top banner of a product when it loads up. So I'm just gonna enter a short description here. Okay, and then you can add a product thumbnail. So the product thumbnail here, as per I showed you in the settings video, you can use a platform such as Canva. Simply go into Canva, create a custom dimension of the size that you want. And again, you can use one of the templates. It's a great idea. I'm going to choose this one just here. It's a whole series of options. I'm just going to choose this one here. Note that you can change the colors again if you want. It's quite flexible to however you want it to look, right? So I'm just going to leave that. All right. And then you can put in whatever your name is. So this we're going to say is the demo course. And once you've done that, simply download the image just like we did in the settings video. And then we can upload it right here in our course set, in our product settings. Simply choose file. And there we go. Once you've done that, make sure you hit save. And then you can go back to your menu of the course here. The preview button does exactly what you'd expect. It'll open a new tab and preview what your course looks like should someone log in to your course. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got our logo at the top left that we customized in our settings. We've got the course title. We have the description of what we put in on the course settings. Start course will take someone to the first lesson. And then what you'll have is on the left-hand side, all your categories and the posts and any subcategories underneath it, as well as student progression and the instructor details. And up here on the top right is where someone can access their details or return back to the course library. Now, all this will make more sense once we start actually building out some content. So let's go back to our actual editor here. The next thing we're going to look at is actually the customization of how the course looks. So here, you can customize a few things, right? So the first one is the header. You can choose to change the logo image in the header here as well. Let me go back. The hero area is this large area here that you can see in yellow, and you can make some changes here in terms of the alignment of the words you see there, the spacing, and how much size it takes up. You can change the background image. Again, the recommended dimensions are detailed here. You can put an overlay over the top of that if you want, over the top of that image. And that all allows you to customize this top area here. That's called the hero area. Okay, once you've made whatever changes you want, just hit save. I'm gonna go back to where I was. The product sidebar. So this is the area on the right-hand side. And generally what you're adjusting here is the instructor details. So this is where you can change the heading of it. So I'm actually gonna leave most of this as it is. So instructor, headshot, again, you can put a headshot image of yourself or whoever the instructor is. Again, it gives you recommended dimensions. All these dimensions are very important. They make sure that your course will display correctly on desktop, tablets, and mobile devices. And then you can enter your instructor name and the title and a short bio. So the bio is what appears underneath those details. So given that's not here, I'm going to put a little bit of information in here just so you can see how that appears. Okay, and once you've made whatever settings changes, you want to hit save, and it will actually show you how that's going to look before you leave the area. Okay, so we see here I've changed instructor name and demo title of instructor, and this is where the bio appears for the instructor. From there, we can go back again, and that is all the sections that you can edit. Okay, again, there's another preview button here that you can hit at any stage. Hitting that button will give you a live preview of what the site looks like with your changes that you've saved. Okay, the next area here is the settings area, and right now what you can adjust here is the favicon image that is specific to this course. If, however, you've already set a favicon at the course's level at your main settings, you don't need to worry about this step. So let's go back out of this to the rest of the course menu, and you'll see more actions. As I mentioned before, it just allows you to delete the course if you want. All right, so you can see back here now we can see the actual tile image that we added in the details, and let's get into the product structure. Okay, so you'll see when you load this that you're going to have a blank category and a blank post. So the first thing to do is to click on the blank category, literally click on the words, and this will allow you to change the title. Okay, so this will be welcome to. Okay, you would call this whatever you want to call it and add a slight description as needed. Okay, and when you're getting started with your first category, you will leave this as your root category. Okay, you can then add another tile for the category thumbnail. Okay, so we're going to do a quick example of that. So this is welcome to the first category. We're going to create another image. In this case, I'm just going to edit this one. Make sure the changes save, and then hit download. Then I come back to my editor, and I'm going to select that image. Okay, it gives me a preview of the image, and I can upload it just here, and that will sit there as my thumbnail. The visibility area, when you're in a category level, will determine whether or not the entire category is visible in your course. So the purpose of this feature is that if you're working on a new category and it's not completed yet, so you have active students in your membership site, you may wish to leave it in draft so that it doesn't show up as a partially completed piece of material. So in this case, we're going to leave it published because we don't have anyone in our course yet, and we want to be able to see everything as we build. So I'm going to hit save. All right, now I'm going to go back to my course area here, and I see there's my category all saved there. Okay. Now you can see in the drop down here, it's showing me I do have a blank post. So what we're going to do is we're now going to edit this post so I can show you how the post editing works. So click on that, and you can say, this is the, well, we'll just call this one first post. And you can see here we can select from our categories. We only have one category to choose from at this stage, so we choose that. From here, you can upload a video directly here, and you can upload up to 4 gigabytes of video here. We will host that for you, and you can upload it just here, and it will sit just there. Alternatively, you can also embed videos in the content editor below. This content editor is very similar to what you use in other areas of your application in terms of being able to adjust, paragraphs, heading size, bold, adjust the text, the alignment, bullet points, number points, put in indents, and attach links. So I'm just going to point out a few key features as we go through this area. So first of all, select a video. You can choose to upload an MP4 file generally from this area. So I'm not going to do that right here, but that's what you can do. Here down the bottom, if you want to put a link in, you can put the text like this. This is a link, and then simply highlight the text, hit the link button, put the URL of where it goes. So say we were going to google.com, it is best actually to copy the URL and go back to your editor and actually paste it in so you get the full HTTPS full link to make sure that it works. And you can simply choose whether it opens in a current window, which will open over the top of their course, or what's usually more helpful is a new window so that someone is still logged into your course area when they follow the link. Okay, and we just hit save, and now that is a link. The next thing to note is that you can embed in the source code. So what that means, when you click that button, I'll just point that out again, it's the far left-hand button here, the source code. This will give you basically the HTML editor. So you'll see what's in above here is what it looks like in HTML of our link that says this is a link. But if I just press enter twice, then I can put anything I want here. So I could choose to put embed codes from like a survey from the app, or I could embed a video if for some reason I wanted to use an embed code for a video. One of the use cases, the reason why you may choose to embed your video, such as from a YouTube video or a Vimeo video or Wistia, something like that, is if you are putting the video into multiple courses and you want to be able to update that video and have it update in every single instance, right? So that way you can change, you could replace the video on your hosting and it would change here and as well as anywhere else you've embedded it. If that's not a problem for you, you may prefer to just use the upload feature to just upload your video just here. Okay, so that's basically how you use the editor on the left-hand side. Let's have a look at the right-hand side of your membership area. First of all, your post editor, sorry. The visibility area, similar to what was mentioned in categories, this is where you choose whether or not this particular post, so this lesson, is visible. Again, if you're working in a course that's already published, and you're adding a new lesson and it's not yet complete, you may wish to save it as draft until you've finished it and then put it to publish so everyone can see it. Again, we're in the building stage here, so we're going to leave it unpublished. We're also going to add another tile here. So we can select an image and we can say this is going to be our first post. So you guessed it, I'm going back to my Canva editor and I'm going to call this one first post. I'm going to download that. Once that's downloaded, I go straight back here, just as before, upload new file, choose my file. Gives me my preview, so I've definitely got the right one, and hit the upload button. There we go. And finally, add files. You can, in fact, add files that can be simply downloaded from your post or your lesson area by choosing a file here and hitting upload, and that will sit in your course area as a download that someone can click on and download the file. Okay, so that is all the areas of how to edit a post. Make sure you save the changes of anything that you do, and you can always hit the preview button to see what the course looks like when that particular post is open. Okay, so now we're inside here and we can see this post. If there was a video, the video would sit at the top. Here is our clickable link. If I click that, it'll open that Google window in a new tab. And then you'll see I've still got my instructor details on the right. And if I had additional lessons, they would appear sequentially down here on the right-hand side. You can also see that there are like a breadcrumb series of directories up the top from the category that's in to all the categories to the course itself. So I can even choose to go back to preview the course from here and see how this all looks. Okay, so let's go back to our editor now at this point, and I'm going to go back to my overall course here. And what I'm going to do here very quickly is just create a second post, and then I'll come back to the video just so we can show you how this navigates around. Okay, so now I have my second post here, and you can see that I've made this published here. You can see I can click on this green tick box here. This is the other area that you can set a post to draft. So if I hit that to draft now, you'll see it's replaced with that gray folder icon now. So if I was to preview the course at this point, we will see that there's only the first post. Now, if I went back here and I marked this as published and I previewed the course again, now we will see that both the first post and the second post are visible. Likewise, you can do a similar thing on the green checkbox for a category and put an entire category back to draft. If you do this, the category and all lessons and subcategories within it will disappear from the course. I'm going to put this back to published. Now, let's have a look at subcategories and how they work. So I'm going to add a subcategory to this first category. Okay, and I'm going to call this first subcategory. Okay, so now we have is a folder within the posts here. Now I can either add a new post here, or I can actually just click and drag an existing post underneath that subcategory. Okay, but notice that the subcategory is currently in draft mode. Okay, so this second post would now disappear. So let's click on the first subcategory here and edit this out. Okay, so I've added a short description. Now you'll notice now I've set this as a subcategory of first category, right? But what I could choose to do is set it as a root category, and that will put it back to a main category option, right? So you can change whether this is a first or second tier thing, right? I'm just going to leave it here as a subcategory of the first category. Right, that's a mouthful. So, a couple of things to note here. We do have to set it as published if we're going to see it and the lessons within it. And once again, we're going to add a thumbnail. So this seems like a lot of thumbnails, but this all comes down to the presentation of your course. But as you can see, if you're using a tool such as Canva, it's very quick to do so. Okay, so there's my preview of my subcategory, and I'm going to hit upload. Okay, and then we'll hit save. Now, extra note here, you'll see that there's a warning here that this category cannot be deleted. You'll always see that when you have posts in a subcategory. Okay, so to explain how you would delete a category, I'm going to go back to the menu here. If I was to drag this post back into the first category, now I would be able to delete this subcategory because there's nothing in it. This is basically a fail-safe to make sure you don't accidentally delete a post, because you always have to clear out the lower tier levels before deleting anything. All right, so I'm going to put it back into my subcategory. Now note, if you create whole new categories, so if I was to go up here and say create a brand new category, second category, and save, and you'll see that drops down the bottom. Okay, so from here you can actually drag your posts into other categories like so, and as long as there's a post in there, you can also move in subcategory folders, just like I've done here. So now we have a subcategory within our second category and a lesson beneath that, all right? So I'm going to put this back here to where we had it in the beginning, just so you can see how all this works. Right, so this is in draft, so it's not going to show in my course menu. At this stage, I'm going to preview the course area just to show you how it looks when you have categories and subcategories. Okay, so you see here, basically I have the first category with a post in it, and then slightly in-jogged is the first subcategory with the lessons underneath it, right? So that is how you have sort of 3 tiers of posting. One is the category, any posts within it, then a subcategory and posts within that. Right, so in general, if you're going to use subcategories, the neater way to do it is to make sure that all your posts are within subcategories, right? Rather than having some lessons in the main and then other lessons in the subcategory, it can look a little bit confusing. So you would generally, if you're going to have subcategories, do it like this and have all the posts under that and then add another subcategory below it. Right, subcategories are totally optional. If that's way too confusing for you, I personally prefer just to use the categories and lessons underneath it. So that concludes the walkthrough here of how you use your course builder to actually create content, and you can actually end up with very professional looking courses that work amazing on both desktop and mobile devices.